Jordan, when I first got into fitness, I went to University of Kentucky and started learning as a personal trainer. And I ate this diet that every morning I would do egg whites and oatmeal. For lunch, I would do chicken breast and broccoli and brown rice. And actually, I'd eat like 5 meals a day. And I was just always hungry, and I was just miserable. And I got to the point where I'm like, I cannot keep up this diet thing anymore. And so today we're going to talk about eating real food and still losing weight the right way.
It's funny. We're learning things about each other on the air. So I just realized on the last program that we both had ADHD as children. Yeah. And now I realize that when I, too, was a personal trainer in college, I went to Florida State University. Afraid to say that after this week's bashing at the hands of Louisville.
There you go.
But so in addition, I consumed a diet that was as high carb and low fat as possible, because in the 90s, the early 90s, the fat-free craze was everywhere. All I did was feel tired and weak all the time, but I kept doing it because I was told this is the right thing to do. So if you've ever been on a diet, whether it's vegan, food combining, macrobiotic, whether it's balancing this, that, or the other, and it made you miserable and you got the opposite effect, let us know about it.
All right, here we go. Let's jump into secret number one. We're going to unveil number one secret to lose weight and to lose it fast. Jordan, let's talk about, and most people probably have never heard of this, what's the water cure?
Well, the water cure has been applied for thousands of years in different iterations, but what I'm talking about is the specific information on using water to lose weight. And here's the tip, and it's so simple and it's so free, it's ridiculous. So consume filtered water, and every time you're hungry, every time you go to the fridge, every time you go to the pantry, drink 8 ounces of water. And people say, well, is it cold water? Is it warm water? I know you're very interested in sort of Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine. They will tell you room temperature water is best, but some people say cold. But 8 ounces of water whenever you're hungry, and I guarantee you, if you remember you're hungry, you'll eat less. Now, the water cure has much more to it, but the water cure for weight loss, drink 8 ounces of water every time you're hungry, and when you reach for the cupboard, reach for the pantry, I would even put, Josh, a sticky note on the fridge or the pantry that says, drink 8 ounces of water. I guarantee you, you will eat less food.
Now, Jordan, talking about our old fitness days, you know what I remember I used to do, and what a lot of people used to do is carry around, a big gallon jug of
in the
water
gym
and drink all the. I used to remember I would try and drink at least a gallon a day, and I was have to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes. You drink so much water, but there's no doubt about it. Drinking more water helps keep you more full, helps cleanse your system, and can absolutely help you lose weight. So what I'd recommend is taking your body weight and drinking at least half of that in ounces of water daily, if not equal to. So get a lot of water. I love carrying around big stainless steel clean canteens or Swell bottles, drinking those throughout the day, especially loading up on water between your meals. So Jordan, let's jump into step number 2 here, and herbs. I'll share a couple of my favorite herbs for weight loss and have Jordan take his. And we actually didn't even discuss the herbs, so I hope I don't take yours, but I probably will, at least a couple. So one of my favorite herbs for weight loss, of course, is going to be an herb called cinnamon. Cinnamon is great for something called GTF, that's glucose tolerance factor. And listen, this is big. If you're a person who part of the reason you can't lose weight on a diet is because of cravings. It's like you're always having these cravings all the time. Cinnamon is fantastic. And what I do, Jordan, is I love adding, a little bit of cinnamon, typically
to
about
everything.
To everything. But I do about a teaspoon in a smoothie for breakfast. In fact, I even made a Israeli dish this weekend.
L'chaim.
Yeah, there you go. I did actually some ground sirloin. I added a little bit of cinnamon there and some parsley and onion and things. It was fantastic. So cinnamon, great for your blood glucose levels. And another one of my favorites is holy basil. Holy basil, also known as tulsi, it's known as an adaptogenic herb. And one of the reasons why I believe it's so beneficial for weight loss is because it also helps in balancing out cortisol levels. When that hormone cortisol gets high, it can also affect insulin and other hormones in the body, causes emotional stress. So not only does it help you lose weight, Jordan, it helps relieve stress, helps support organ function, and there's a lot of other herbs we can touch on here, but I'll hand it off to you and maybe we'll have one or two more after.
You didn't take mine. Just to be very clear, the herbs that I'm going to mention to you function 2 specific ways. Number one, you want to trigger fat burning with thermogenic or hot herbs. Hot peppers are the way to go. Jalapenos, cayenne, and various chili peppers are great. So think hot peppers. They're not only high in vitamin C, but they help to stimulate thermogenesis, which means generation of heat. So fat burning will be triggered by consuming hot peppers. And Josh, you talked about hormones a moment ago. When it comes to weight loss, a lot of hormones are involved. Insulin and glucagon. So when you're talking about insulin management, cinnamon, as Josh mentioned, is amazing. And if you consume 1 teaspoon of cinnamon a day, you are in line with all the clinical research. Absolutely amazing. You can also make a cinnamon tea or decoction, or just eat the cinnamon chips. They're so, so good if you get bulk cinnamon herbs. So a lot of people think that stressed is dessert spelled backwards. Well, actually it is, but folks, think about it. We eat when we're upset. We eat to celebrate. Everything somehow gets back to cookies and cream, doesn't it? But ashwagandha in tea form, supplement form, and pretty much any form helps reduce cortisol, which helps reduce belly fat, helps you sleep better, helps you look better. Ashwagandha is the quintessential adaptogenic herb. It is known as winter cherry, and it's one of the big 3 herbs in India, joining turmeric and holy basil or tulsi. So what we talked about, just a recap, cinnamon we talked about, which is wonderful for blood sugar and glucagon. We talked about hot peppers. We talked about ashwagandha, and then you added another one in there, holy basil. So those 4 are awesome. Tea form, powder is a spice, or supplement form. Those will help you begin to lose weight by generating internal heat and reducing cortisol as well as insulin. Is that right there? We could stop the show and you'll already be on track to lose weight fast.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to jump into step 3 here in just one second, but I want to mention this. What Jordan mentioned with ashwagandha is so big because there's a lot of people, Jordan, today who are trying to lose weight by doing a lot of different, a lot of different supplements and pills, sometimes even medications. The reason why ashwagandha is so effective is it really works with your hormones and your thyroid. A lot of people today, due to hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's disease, that's part of the reason why they're gaining weight. And there are medical clinical studies showing ashwagandha supports T3 levels, T4, and especially TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone. It is key to lose weight, especially if it's caused by cortisol and different hormone levels here as well. All right, let's jump into step number 3, essential oil number 1. We touched on the herb. Cinnamon essential oil contains a compound called cinnamaldehyde, which has actually been shown in clinical trials to help balance blood sugar, Jordan. In fact, a recent study out of the Mayo Clinic did a study on cinnamaldehyde or cinnamon extract, which is high in cinnamaldehyde, and found that it was very effective in actually treating diabetics. In fact, it was one of the most effective treatments they had found for diabetes.
I got to tell you, when it comes to essential oils and herbs, it's hard to beat turmeric and cinnamon. Cinnamon's probably my number 2 favorite herb, and the oil's amazing. I use it on my toothpaste every day. I just put some cinnamon on it. It's absolutely great. Cinnamon essential oil, not just inhaled, but take a few drops every day. Because the cinnamon oil differs from the cinnamon extract, which is a water extract. A hot water extract or a tea does not give you what the essential oil gives you. So when we talked about herbs, the cinnamon herb is different than the cinnamon essential oil. You need both, so take a few drops a day. You'll be very glad that you did, and it tastes really, really yummy. When you buy a cinnamon essential oil, make sure the oil is certified organic and labeled as a dietary supplement for internal use. And next, ginger, as you mentioned. Ginger is good for so many things, but it really is good for weight loss and cardiovascular health, also helping with inflammation. Now, people have been talking about your fat being another organ. And then now they're saying that your microbiome is another organ. So that means we've got some extra organs to take care of, and perhaps the most important. So ginger essential oil, again, that's different than ginger extract. The spice will have some oils, but not as much. Ginger essential oil is great. It's mildly thermogenic. It's a cardiotonic, and it's an anti-inflammatory. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, ginger, one of the reasons I love it as well is it helps warm your system.
Absolutely.
In Chinese medicine. It's great for digestion, as Jordan's talking about. Another oil I don't have on the list, but I think is fantastic for weight loss, is actually black pepper essential oil. Black pepper, Jordan mentioned earlier, the hot peppers that he had talked about, really warming your system. So black pepper oil is great, but probably my favorite essential oil for fat loss is grapefruit oil. And there are studies, Jordan, on people actually smelling grapefruit oil and it actually helping your body produce enzymes that break down body fat and especially reduce cravings. Is a big thing.
And also, grapefruit is great for blood sugar. So think about it. If you're sitting there and you've got diabetes or metabolic syndrome, your blood sugar will be improved. What does your doctor tell you? If you lose some weight. So I recommend every day a combination of cinnamon essential oil, ginger essential oil, and grapefruit. 2 drops of each in juice or in water, warm or cold, 3 times a day. That's a lot, but it's very worth it. So 2 drops of each of the 3 essential oils, 2 to 3 times a day, right before meals is a great way to do it, or on an empty stomach. I think you're going to have great results. Now, when you're using grapefruit anything, make sure that there's not any interactions with your medications, because one of the reasons grapefruit works, it does alter your detoxification enzyme system. But in this case, it'll help you as long as you're not on medications that can be let's just say, problematic. What happens with grapefruit, it extends the half-life or shortens the breakdown of a medication. It stays in your system longer, which is why you need to be careful if there's any drug interactions between grapefruit and your medicine.
Awesome. Absolutely agree. Let's step into, and we could touch on other oils here. There's things like holy basil oil. I think lavender and chamomile oil can be great for reducing stress, which in fact will help weight loss. You know, Jordan, a lot of people hold on to body weight. In fact, there's a study on this because they're not sleeping enough.
Yes, I was going to get into this. This is the number 8 secret we don't have here, but there's been research that shows that sleeping more has you eat less. They did a study where people slept 4 hours a night, so it wasn't no sleep, 4 hours a night for an extended period of time, and they all had greater sugar cravings and carb cravings the next day. So getting sleep, not only the right amount, but at the right time is critical. But so is coconut oil.
There we go.
Now, you've heard the fads. You've heard the, let's say, gigantic claims. We were the very first folks to bring extra virgin coconut oil or virgin coconut oil to health food stores all the way back in 2004, maybe 2003. And back then, the coconut diet craze was just hitting. But coconut's great for the thyroid. So if you want to replace your fat, go for an oil change with coconut oil, 2 to 4 tablespoons a day, cook with it in smoothies, eat it off the spoon. You can massage it, use it as a carrier oil. In fact, what would be awesome, Josh, is take a tablespoon of coconut oil, drop some of these essential oils into it, and put it in your mouth and actually let it sort of dissolve. That could replace putting those essential oils in. That'd be a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah, I'll mention a couple other great thoughts here by Jordan. One, you know, you could do oil pulling with it. There's another thought, a great thing. And then also here, another thing is you could sort of make your own. Now, I've seen, Jordan, people do natural cellulite rubs early on, mixing coconut oil with grapefruit and ginger specifically, rubbing it in an area, I think can be beneficial as well. But coconut oil, Jordan, one of the reasons why we both know it's so effective for fat loss is it can change those medium chain triglycerides, which your body actually has to go through a lot shorter process to burn for energy versus other fats. And so this is why a reason I think a lot of triathletes actually consume it before workouts and even during workouts. My cousin, who's a triathlete here in Tennessee, he actually does a mixture of coconut oil, raw honey, and some sea salt. Fat loading before he does his Ironman triathlons. And again,
it's the old spaghetti dinners, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, there you go. So again, coconut oil, so beneficial for fat loss.
Okay, what do we have next?
Collagen.
Now here's something that's interesting, and you may be somebody who's been on these yo-yo diets, and often what I hear is, I lost water weight, but I look older. Have you heard that before, where somebody loses weight, or if they lose a lot of weight, they have all this extra weak skin? Collagen not only, in my opinion, can help you lose weight because it sort of swells in the gut and it helps to delay gastric emptying, etc. I actually think that it helps you look better along the way because it strengthens your connective tissue.
Oh, yeah.
So if you are interested in losing weight and looking better, this is basically a look your best for your 20, 30, or 40th year high school reunion. Collagen is a great protein source for you not only to lose weight, but to look better at the same time. You don't want to lose weight and look older. I know people that have had various gastric surgeries and they lose weight, but sometimes they look worse.
Yeah.
They're ashen, they're sort of just not healthy looking skin-wise. Collagen would be a huge help if you're somebody who's had bariatric surgery.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And a few other just important notes about collagen. One, I mentioned cellulite earlier. I think one of the reasons is people start to lose weight and their skin starts to sag or cellulite buildup. There are some critical things missing. Number one is collagen, as you're saying. We know proline and glycine are so crucial for that collagen matrix and tightening and toning up your skin. Also, we know that collagen is critical because it's high, it's protein, it's amino acids. And if somebody is going to lose weight, Jordan, I typically put them on a diet that is high in protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Skip doing a lot of the starches and a lot of the sugar and really load up on fiber, healthy fat, and protein during a diet. I think is critical. And collagen, there are many different types of collagen. I know we love collagen type 1, type 2, type 3, type 5, and type 10. Collagen type 2 specifically is very, very good for your gut health. We know type 1 and 3 it helps tone and tighten your skin. So we recommend doing, I love doing recipes with a collagen powder, doing a collagen protein, a couple scoops in a smoothie every single morning, maybe with some flax meal, some coconut oil or coconut milk, really doing that thermogenic metabolism boosting smoothie first thing in the morning. And then also the number one food that's high in collagen, Jordan, is what?
Bone broth. Or alternately, eating the parts of the animal that we typically ignore. We talked about how the crispy organic chicken skin is a good source of hyaluronic acid. It doesn't have to be crispy, but it tastes much better.
Oh, yeah.
And even the fat that comes from bone broth, which we call sort of bone broth omegas, is awesome. So that fat that my grandmother called schmaltz, save it, it's really good. But collagen is a great protein source because it does not contribute to kidney and liver toxicity. It's used differently due to its amino acid makeup.
Yeah.
So people that are consuming hundreds of grams of whey protein, pea protein, egg protein, rice protein, they've got to detoxify that. Collagen actually helps to detoxify.
Oh, yeah.
So collagen might be the best weight loss protein.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something, hey, if you know somebody who's really big into fitness, maybe working out a lot, I think they need to know this information, Jordan, is most of them are actually consuming too many forms of animal protein and plant-based protein and not enough collagen and bone broth and things like that on a daily basis that really support their joints, their connective tissue, their gut health, their skin. It is critical. Collagen, beneficial for so many things.
What is burst fit, and really what is the general category
here we go.
that we would call that in the literature that makes burst fit successful? Because get this, folks, cardio is out. I know that aerobics was real popular. There's some good benefits, but don't you see people that run marathons and do aerobics and you're wondering, like, you're a marathon runner? Like, you're into exercise? Because they don't look good. What's the reason, and what should people be doing no matter what level of fitness they're at?
I'm a big believer in burst training, but here's the absolute truth, Jordan. I did triathlons for years, and it really, if you start doing long distance triathlons, and I'm not talking about sport, but the sprints, but the longer distance and marathon running, you start getting frail, you start getting weak. I really remember it zapped my strength, And so one of the things they're finding is that can increase cortisol over time. And if cortisol stays high over time, it can be known as your aging hormone. You can actually age faster because of all of the oxidative stress on your body versus burst training. And burst training is exercising like a sprinter rather than a marathon runner. And so if you typically would go out and just run and do a jog or get on the treadmill and go one steady pace, instead, you're getting on a treadmill, or I typically instead do this on something like a spin bike, and I'll go really hard for 30 seconds and then easy for 30 seconds and really hard. And so you're doing intervals of sprints and resting. And the incredible thing, Jordan, is they've done studies. In fact, there was a great study done in Wales, and they actually found that they actually did this study on spin bikes.
So you're saying the whales that sprinted when they were spinning were much in better shape than the ones who just...
Exactly. These whales were really fit. They were trim.
sorry.
No, you're good. So the country whales, and they actually did a study on a spin bike, and they had people do 20 minutes of interval training versus 40 minutes of straight, steady, hard cardio on a spin bike. The incredible thing was, after the 10-week study, the group that exercised half the amount of time, the 20 minutes that did the burst training, lost 3 times more body fat than the other group.
And get this, the cyclists, because they are cyclists, they actually improved in long-distance cycling by not practicing for their event. Isn't it amazing? I used to say, would you rather look like a sprinter or a marathon runner? Minus the whole small Speedo thing that's not attractive on men regardless. But that's pretty amazing, because if you look at someone like a Usain Bolt and some of those guys, the older, they're in great shape, chiseled, whereas marathon runners kind of tend to be weak and really thin, right? And cyclists are the same. I used to look at the top cyclists and I thought their arms are this big because they are burning cortisol and they're burning protein.
Yeah, absolutely, Jordan. You know, you look at like this Olympics, Allison Felix. I mean, just an amazing, just beautiful, fit woman. And, you know, I think in general, if you want to have that really toned body, I mean, look at that. Sprinters are built perfectly in a way in terms of and they're fit. That's the other thing too. I mean, they were made to last for a long period of time. You know, I saw during this last Olympics some of the different athletes, and some of the sprinters you look at, like Michael Johnson, he still looks good. He still looks really fit. So again, this isn't just about looking good. It's for your long-term health, exercising like a sprinter rather than a marathon runner. And Jordan, I saw a comic once, and they said that the doctor said, hey, if you want to live a long time, exercise an hour a day. The truth is, you can get away with sometimes with exercising an hour a week, 20 minutes, 3 times a week with your doing burst training. The great news is everybody has time for that,
they do.
Even if you're traveling.
And if you can't run, you can jog for your burst and walk. Anybody can do it. Anybody can exercise.
Well, what do you do for the exercise if you've got bad knees? Here's what I'd recommend. If you have bad knees, you can still do burst training, number 1, in the pool. You know, I love doing swimming workouts, and so you may swim hard to one end, take a breather and rest. Swim to another end.
Yeah, sorry.
Jordan's showing off his dance moves right now as well.
Dancing is a good exercise.
Hey, dude, maybe that's what you were showing. Yeah,
exactly.
So, and then I was going to say this as well. You know, you can also, even if you have bad knees, oftentimes cycling can be good. You're not going to turn it way up to where it's really hard to cycle, but just getting on a spin bike and doing it very light intervals where you're spinning your legs more quickly. So I think a spin bike and I think getting in the pool, those are great ways to do burst training. So you don't need to be jumping up and down and impacting your knees. And in fact, my mom does burst training on a rebounder, on a mini trampoline. Very, very effective.
That's a great way to do it. And again, if you got knee issues, you don't really have to leave the trampoline. You can just sort of move up. Trampoline training is amazing. In fact, we were driving the other day and saw one of those trampoline places for the kids. Your digestion's better. Reversing the gravitational pull is very key. So you can do this principle of training quickly, effectively. You will look better, support your collagen. It's a great thing. But here's the deal. We said lose weight fast. Probably the number 1 tip I could give you, and I promise you, if you will follow this, in 3 weeks, you could lose as much as 10 pounds. And it is the simplest and most backward, according to the conventional wisdom, skip breakfast. I know what you heard from Bill Cosby and everyone else growing up. Breakfast is the
most important meal of the day.
What if I told you it was the least? What if I told you that breakfast could be eaten at noon? I know Denny says I'd eat breakfast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast means what? Break fast. The bottom line is we eat too long. We wake up at 6, we have the wrong thing, then we go to sleep at midnight, have the wrong thing. The amount of time in a day from your first bite to your last, and compared to how much you rest, is a big ratio we need to look at. So I believe that most people aren't even hungry for breakfast. I sort of have to force myself sometimes. They say, you got to have cereal, you got to have skim milk. That's diabetes in a bowl, right?
Yep.
Guess who developed the breakfast is the most important meal campaign?
Cereal companies?
Cereal companies. Folks, I'm telling you, and I know what you're going to ask. I have blood sugar issues. I need to eat 6 times a day. What about throwing the logs on the fire? I don't know who came up with that, But you want to know how to lose weight. If I were going to be needing to trim down for some reason, I would skip breakfast. And in fact, I would make my first meal as late as it can be. Say that you have lunch, 12, 1, or 2, eat for 4, 6, or 8 hours, and then shut off your eating the rest of the time. And while you're not eating, here's the great news, consume broth. Bone broth is one of the best things you can do during the non-eating time. It's just about avoiding calories. Your gut's going to be better. I promise you, if you skip breakfast for 3 consecutive weeks, you will be leaner. It works like gravity. Here's the last thing I'll say. You could eat all the same amount of food in a shorter period of time, and you'll still lose weight. It's all about hormones.
Yeah, Jordan, I remember doing this. You remember years ago when we did the Daniel fast together, and I believe when I was eating, I ate at noon, 3, and 6. And I remember, losing a lot of weight.
19 pounds.
Yeah, 19 pounds, and went and gained it all. Went and gained it back over the next few weeks on purpose because I didn't need to lose any.
Yes, likewise.
But just to say, if you are a person who is interested in intermittent fasting, which is a lot of times what it's called. This is definitely a way to do that,
but it's an easier way.
Easier way. I typically, when I've done this, again, I've done 3 meals a day still, but I've eaten around noon, 3, and 6 o'clock. Similar thing. And Jordan, I've noticed for myself, I typically don't start getting really hungry until around 11 o'clock anyways. And just, hey, during the morning, load up on water with a little bit of lemon juice during that time, or bone broth during that time. And then eat lunch at noon.
Especially warm things. Teas are great too. Some of these teas we mentioned, or water and essential oils. Here's the thing you might be asking also. I have meetings, I have work, I don't want to be tired. I did a retrospective study of my own life during my elementary, middle school, and high school days. And what I realized was that every class I had before lunch, I had the best grades and the least behavior problems.
Yeah,
every class I had after lunch, fell asleep.
Yeah.
Literally fell asleep in class.
So
I know they were a little lenient back in the day, no ruler to slap on the desk, but I fell asleep. And what did I eat for lunch? Bagels and juice boxes and stuff like that.
Pizza.
They were healthy bagels.
Little Debbie snack cakes.
All right, we're not going to mention brands here. I didn't say Lender's bagels. I just said bagels. But folks, the deal is, if you're facing a lion out in the wild, which no one wants to think about that, would you rather face one that's just eaten or one that has yet to eat? If you want to go into a meeting sharp, go into a meeting in a fasted state, because your brain will start burning fat and ketones. We hear about that, right? I'm telling you, folks, skip breakfast. After a few days, you'll be sharp, you'll be on fire, and guess what? When you start to get hungry, guess what's happening when you're fasting? You're burning body fat. Remember you said you had that question about belly fat? The best way to burn it is to let your body do the burning. I haven't eaten anything today. Well, I had bone broth and I had tea, like we talked about, but I'm sort of getting hungry. You're making me hungry, and I'm burning fat. Right now, I'm burning fat.
I love it, Jordan. One of the things, too, that I used to teach a class years ago, and it was all about how to transform your body from being a carb burner into a fat burner. And one of the things they found, jumping back here to burst training and then combining it with some of these principles, they found with burst training, when you are doing cardiovascular exercise, you are burning fat while you're working out. But your body doesn't burn fat after you work out. The great thing about burst training is your body continues to burn fat for the next 36 hours. So even while you're sleeping the following night, your body is still burning fat. And so as Jordan is saying, also in turning your body into a fat burner, getting more healthy fats like coconut oil in your diet is key. Again, skipping breakfast. So think about that. If you're getting more fat in your diet, more protein, and more fiber, your body stops burning all those carbohydrates, or doesn't have as many to burn. So then it says, what's my next form of fuel? It's fat. It's burning it the next night after burst training, and then it's still burning it all the way through breakfast the next day.
And here's another study that shows, because questions are, well, what about my blood sugar? What about my meetings? And number 3, which is, how can I exercise if I haven't eaten? Well, guess what? I exercised this morning for 2 hours when I include my sauna session on an empty stomach. There's research that shows when you exercise on an empty stomach, you burn more fat because you're not feeding it with a bunch of carbohydrate. It's really awesome, folks. These 7 secrets will get you in the best shape of your life.
Barbara actually asked a question. She says, my heart doctor says no coconut oil.
Well, if you're going to a cardiologist who says no coconut oil, they're probably old school because coconut oil is saturated fat. There is zero proof, by the way, that saturated fat causes cardiovascular disease, and certainly coconut oil will not raise cholesterol. Not that that causes cardiovascular disease, but I'm not telling you to go against your doctor, but I would tell you to go online and look up the benefits of coconut oil. There's some great sites, Dr. Ray Peat, so many medical doctors, Mary Enig, she's a PhD as well, but look up benefits of coconut oil, find some published research or a medical doctor that recommends it and bring it into your doctor, or find a doctor that will be happy to partner with you on your journey to health. We are not anti-doctor, but a doctor's not your boss. They need to be your partner.
I absolutely agree, Jordan. Another comment here from Clarissa. She says, and I love this idea. She says, I love adding coconut oil to my green juice on a daily basis in the morning. And just imagine this combo: greens with bone broth or collagen powder plus coconut oil.
You know what's great about coconut oil or fat in your green juice? Green juice and veggie juice still contains sugar. Fat and fiber slow it down. So when I was in Germany, they added cream to their carrot juice, not only to aid the absorption, but to aid the absorption of carotenoids, slow the absorption of sugars. That's a great tip.
All right, a few other questions and comments here. Ruthie says, this is hilarious to me. Dr. Axe, who's the guy next to you?
Yeah, he doesn't usually give me a proper introduction. I'm just the guy here. I'm sort of like the Jim to your Marlon Perkins, you know?
So guys, this is Jordan Rubin. Jordan is the author of The Maker's Diet. He's the former founder of Garden of Life, and now has a lot of new brands
responsible for everything that he is today that's good.
Yeah, so
sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Axe. I mean, other than the parental stuff.
So Jordan's been a great friend of mine for years, and he is really, I believe he's probably the best supplement formulator in the world. In fact, when I personally take vitamins and supplements, they're either ones that I've created, he's created, or we've co-created. So really talented there. So again, Jordan Rubin. But check out his book, The Maker's Diet, and some of his new supplement brands like Ancient Nutrition, Numa, and some of the others there as well. And then some people had some questions and wanted to check some stuff out here. So we talked about some of the best herbs here, so you guys can see this. Jordan, let's see here. Another question for you we'll find. Let's see here. Somebody says, Jordan, are you still with Garden of Life?
That's a great question. And I have left Garden of Life. It's a company that I founded, my baby. And Garden of Life is now owned by another group. And I am doing some really great things. As Josh mentioned, I started a company called Get Real Nutrition. Josh and I started two companies together, Ancient Nutrition and Numa, and then we're also partnering on all of this great content. In fact, we have a brand new book coming out before the end of the year that you're going to want to check out called Essential Oils, Ancient Medicine for the Modern World, and it'll span a whole book series. We've got a lot cooking, but Josh and I are going to be doing a lot of things together in the future, so look out for that. A
question here, what are your thoughts on maca root?
That's a great question. I think maca is good. Maca is really a cruciferous vegetable. It's a root. It's got glucosinolates, indole-3-carbinol. It's really good. I do not believe it's a miracle for weight loss, as some people say, but it's a very good food. It is.
Yeah, you know, I sometimes will add a tablespoon to my smoothie on a regular basis if I'm doing a superfood smoothie, and it does have some benefits as an adaptogen, and it's sometimes known as, I think it's actually meaning is strength to the stallion, and in Aztec,
or like the female
language.
Ginseng is what people call it.
Yeah.
It's a borderline adaptogen. So
absolutely. And then someone says, Jordan, can you explain ketones to me, or what are your thoughts on ketosis and the ketogenic diet for fat loss?
Absolutely. I think if you go on a ketogenic diet, it can be really, really good. Now, I don't know about you, but it's difficult for me to stick to. I like everyone, I love fruit. I love sweets, and so for me, I get the same results by eating a healthy and balanced diet in a short period of time. So for me, intermittent fasting gets the same results as ketogenic. Ketogenic's hard for me to stick with, and a lot of people practice a ketogenic diet where they're eating bacon and a lot of things that I don't believe are healthy. However, if you can do it, if you can keep your carbs lower than 20 grams a day. I don't like you to eat artificial sweeteners or sugar alcohols, but if you can do it, tiny amount of veggies, lots of meat, lots of fat, I think it can be really, really good for you. I think a ketogenic, if you've got brain stuff, If you have gut stuff, if you want to burn fat, ketogenic diet can be great. But all of these secrets, I think, can get you the same or better results.
All right. Somebody asked, can you guys do a quick review of everything you just covered in 1 minute?
Okay. We're used to doing things in 1 minute. I'm going to take this side. So, the water cure, rewind. If you want to lose weight quick, drink 8 ounces of water every time you reach for the pantry or the fridge. That's the water cure. The herbs, hot peppers for thermogenesis, they help you burn fat. Cinnamon for blood sugar. Holy basil is a good adaptogen. And ashwaganda helps reduce cortisol levels. Essential oils, the Dr. Axe big 3. Cinnamon, grapefruit, and number 3 is ginger. 2 drops in liquid 2 to 3 times a day, or mix it in coconut oil, eat it off the spoon, and coconut oil, 2 to 4 tablespoons a day, cook with it, put it in smoothies, rub it on your face, take a bath in it. Coconut oil is really good for your thyroid and lots of other things too. You got 30 seconds left.
All right, here we go. So collagen, we know collagen protein is great for tightening up and firming your skin and your tissue. So it's great for that. It's also very high in protein. In fact, 1 big scoop of a bone broth powder or collagen powder could have 20 grams of protein. It's by far, in my mind, the best form of protein or amino acids to lose weight and build health in your body. Burst training exercise, it's exercising like a sprinter rather than a marathon runner. So when you go to the gym now, rather than getting on the treadmill going for long periods of time, do 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds easy, but work out like a sprinter. And last but not least, we talked about intermittent fasting. So skipping breakfast, eating meals at 12, 3, and 6. So again, taking about that 4 hours off in the morning. What's going to happen is your body is going to continue to burn fat in the morning. It's going to help you lose weight really, really fast.
All right.
All right.
That was about 63 seconds. I counted in my internal
wow, that's
clock.
pretty good. All right. Let's see here. One more question here. Jordan, what are your thoughts, or what are our thoughts on doing a macrobiotic diet?
I have tried a macrobiotic diet over the years, and it doesn't agree with me. I'm not really a grain-tolerant person. So I do consume some grains, but I have not found the macrobiotic system to work for me, and it has fallen way out of favor. Yeah. When my dad was in naturopathic and chiropractic school, macrobiotic was popular. Now, there's some good elements to it, some fermented foods, umeboshi plums, etc., but I am not a fan of the macrobiotic way of eating.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people are actually asking questions now. They said, does grapefruit affect your medications? Jordan had alluded to this earlier. You do want to be sensitive if you're doing grapefruit oil or eating grapefruit, because it actually does affect your detoxification channel. So if